अग्निपथ अग्निवीर क्या है ये स्कीम है? क्यों है लोग नाराज इन स्कीमों के पीछे? क्यों इन स्कीमों के पॉलिटिकल मुद्दे बनाए जा रहे हैं? इंडियन गवर्नमेंट, इंडियन आर्मी ये स्कीम लॉन्च करके क्या करना चाहती है? आइए हम जानते हैं किसी एक्सपर्ट के द्वारा इस स्कीम के बारे में, ये क्या है और इसका पर्पस क्या है। आर्मी वेटरन कॉर्प्स ऑफ सिग्नल served in an army from 1975 to 2006, a PhD holder in information warfare, the writer author for Indian strategies for information warfare and cyber deterrence. So guys, चलिए जुड़ते हैं रिटायर्ड ब्रिगेडियर अशोक पाठक जी के साथ। So as we discussed, we have today with us ब्रिगेडियर अशोक पाठक जी। आपका बहुत बहुत स्वागत है आज हमारे साथ।
Thank you.
तो आज सर हम एक बहुत ही महत्वपूर्ण टॉपिक पे चर्चा करने के लिए, आपकी गाइडेंस लेने के लिए यहाँ पर आए हैं। तो जो टॉपिक है, आपने भी न्यूज़ में काफ़ी सुना होगा, हमारे व्यूअर्स भी उसको जानते हैं, अग्निवीर। ये अग्निवीर स्कीम क्या है और इसकी ज़रूरत हमें क्या पड़ी?
Thank you, Dhruv, for initiating a discussion on this topic. Very pertinent. But first, a correction before I start. Scheme का नाम अग्निपथ है और अग्निवीर is more or less a product which is coming out of Agneepath. These are the soldiers who get recruited and trained and then join the units of Indian Army, Navy and Air Force. They are known as Agniveer. First, to start with, let me clear a very widespread doubt which people have, that this is something which has come out of the blue and it has just started now. It doesn't have a background. इसका एक बहुत लंबा बैकग्राउंड है।
Okay.
थोड़ी बहुत इसमें इतिहास में जाना पड़ेगा। We'll have to have a historical review.
Okay.
1965 तक, आज़ादी के बाद, from 1947 to 1965, we used to recruit young people to the Army, Air Force and Navy who were supposed to undergo compulsory service for 7 years, followed by 8 years of reserve service.
Okay. Okay.
Compulsory service meant that they couldn't leave during this period. And if a person does complete 15 years, he used to get pension.
Okay.
Now, if I ask somebody today after how many years the people were, or the soldiers were leaving the armed forces, the general answer is going to be after 15 years, after he has done his pensionable service.
Sure.
But the fact is different. The fact is that 65% of soldiers used to leave the armed forces after 7 years of compulsory service, without pension, of course.
Okay.
And after 65, then the government or the people who were in power, they realized that they have to do frequent recruitments, and hence, or maybe some other reason, they started inducting people or soldiers into the army for complete 17 years.
Okay.
So if you complete 15 years out of these 17 years, then you are eligible for pension, and of course very few people were leaving earlier. So what happened after this was 100% of women were not in the armed forces at that time, who joined the armed forces, they got pension.
Okay.
So far it is excellent.
Yes.
Because so to say, their future was secure. But there was a rider to it.
Okay.
The average age profile of the Indian Armed Forces till 65 was around 25 years. So they were young people. The armed forces were young. And once we had this 17 years service and 15 years pensionable service, the average age jumped to 32 years.
Okay.
Now this was realized later, that an old army with an older age profile is not as efficient and as effective, especially in areas where the demands of war, demands of service, military service is one of the toughest, is high. So there was a rethink on this to come out with the formula so that the average age profile of people who joined armed forces goes down to 24, 26 years again. First committee was formed as early as 1977. That's a start point of Agnipath, so to say, by General T.N. Raina. This committee submitted its report. Nothing happened. 1985, Lieutenant General K. Balaram submitted another report. He was the vice chief at that time. This report also didn't draw any attention as far as the decision making was concerned.
Okay.
In the Sri Lanka operation, recollect 1987 to 1990, it was realized that during active service, units that had younger age profile, they performed much better than those who were of older age profile.
Okay.
So in the 10th Lok Sabha Estimate Committee, a commitment was made, I'm talking of 1992-93, that the armed forces are ready with a scheme which will remove the anomalies of this older and, if I may say so, a little inefficient armed forces or army very soon. This was 1992-93. Nothing happened for the next almost say 3 decades, and on 14th June 2022, if I remember correctly, the defense minister announced the Agnipath scheme. So this is a small background to the Agnipath scheme, which is producing Agniveers. So I thought that I must clarify that it is not a bolt from the blue. The process was on for a very long time.
ब्रिगेडियर सर, ये आई गेस फिर ये तो बहुत ही बड़ी मिसअंडरस्टैंडिंग क्राउड के बीच में थी कि ये रातों रात स्कीम निकाली गई, स्कीम बनाई गई, और ये आपने जैसे हमें बताया, हमें शायद ये पहली बार आज पता लगा कि ये 40 साल पुरानी स्कीम है।
Yeah.
तो इसको पॉलिटिकल के लिए मुद्दे के लिए आजकल मिसयूज करा जा रहा है, लोगों को मिसगाइड करा जा रहा है। सो अगर हम सही समझे हैं तो आर्मी अब सिर्फ रिफाइंड लोगों के साथ आफ्टर 4 years हु विल बी द टॉप परफॉर्मर्स, टॉप अपने प्राइम में होंगे, फिजिकल फिटनेस में होंगे, उन्हीं के साथ आगे कंटिन्यू करेगी। सो इट्स लाइक अ प्राइवेट जॉब।
To some extent, you are correct. To some extent, इसके कई पहलू हैं। First and foremost is that I'm talking of the scheme now, what Agnipath scheme is all about. The intake is taking place at the age group of 17.5 to 21 years. So that is younger profile. They will serve for 4 years, that's right. For 6 months, everyone will be put through basic military training, weapons. And after that, they will go for specialized training, which is pertinent to their core and service. For example, a signaller or an engineer's person, he goes to the training centers of engineer regiment. The signal fellow goes to the training establishments of signal regiment, and so on. Infantry goes for specialized training before they join their particular units. Once they are in the units, their performance as Agniveers will be monitored at all India level. Now this is the difference. All India level, not unit level only. And there are performance parameters. After 4 years, who are the soldiers or the Agniveers who are amongst the top 25%, they will be retained. 75% of these Agniveers will be released or demobilized. They go back to the civilian world. They will not be known as ex-servicemen. They will not get their ECHS or CSG services benefits, but they will have reserved vacancies in various government organizations, for example, the Home Ministry, Defense Ministry, Coast Guard. Some of the states also have announced reservations for them, Assam, UP, and if I'm not wrong, even Rajasthan, and more states will give them reservation as far as jobs are concerned. So he has the option of getting a job in the reserve vacancies. Also, the government is thinking of doing some sort of a skill development for them, and education also. The government will fund their education so that they become very productive and I would say happy individuals in their post demobilization life. And another thing I would like to add here is that at the entry level, each one of the contestants or the aspirants, he is put through a written test first, online, and then followed by the physical test. So the intellectual capabilities are given precedence here, as is very, very important for modern armed forces, who have to use more of intellect than brawn in the modern wars. And even persons who have 8th standard qualification, the general duty people, they also will be put through online written tests, testing their basic decision making, their general awareness and basic science, and followed by the physical test. And of course, for the other ones, it will be 10+2, minimum qualification marks 45%, and then of course you got to qualify and be in the merit. I think the intake is around 60,000 initially. It will go to 1 lakh later on per year for this Agniveers. So what you see here is, number one, all India level of intake. It is not Punjab regiment from Punjab and Sikh regiment from somewhere and Mahar regiment from somewhere and similarly Madras regiment from down south. It's not like that. Not on regional labels. It will be pan-India. And egalitarian outlook of the armed forces as it is for the officers, so it will be for the men. Plus, when they are performing during the 4 years, they are being monitored again at all India parameters, and the best 25% are being retained. Those 75% who are demobilized, people say thrown out. No, they are not thrown out. Maybe they will produce more, they'll be more productive in the commercial or corporate world, in other government services. And they are getting around 11.71 lakhs in hand, that is around 12 lakhs after 4 years of service. During service, for the first year they get 30,000 rupees per month. By the time he comes to 4th year, it is getting 40,000 per month. Something he contributes as the Seva Nidhi, and the government contributes the same thing, and that's how he is getting around 12 lakhs when he retires. So at 8th standard pass or a 12th standard pass, getting 30,000 straight away, no encumbrance, food etc. taken care of by the government, and after retirement he is getting 12 lakhs. He can have his own startup also, plus that kind of disciplined life in the armed forces. I think people should be very upbeat about it.
Absolutely, sir. I guess government and this planning for this Agnipath scheme has been thought through. इसमें after 4 years भी plan करा गया है उन लोगों के लिए. They have reserved vacancies, they have reserved jobs for them from different states, so they do not have to worry about anything.
Yes, yeah, that's right. Another thing, you brought a very valid point. Another thing which is not very highly publicized is 75% of the Agniveers, that is 75,000 to 1 lakh Agniveers, they are going into leaving the military. So in a span of, let's say, 3 to 4 years, that's around 3 to 4 lakhs trained people.
Okay.
God forbid India gets into a war with a major country.
Okay.
Your strength, let's say today, is around 1 million, and you want very quickly 2 to 3 lakhs more. Do you have a pool? Yes.
Yes, we do.
These are people who retired. They would be, what should I say, 21 plus 4, 25, or 17 plus 4, 21 years. So they would be less than 30 years, 32 years. They can be inducted, given 1 month of refresher, and ready for war, because they have already been in the armed forces for 4 years and they have been through training. So this is an added advantage of this Agniveers, which normally we don't talk much about, but that is an advantage. And most of the countries, even China, Israel, 3/4 of the forces are civilians, and they are mobilized during war only, and they have just 18 months of training, go back to their work, and whenever there is a war, there is a mobilization, they come back, some training, and they're ready to fight.
So it would be right to say So government, the Indian defense has not only planned after 4 years, they have planned for a long run as well. Wherever there will be a chaotic situation, there will be backup already ready for Indian forces. So they do not have to be dependent on some external forces for help. We have our own army which can increase from only 1 lakh to 2 lakh or 3 lakh or 4 lakh with just one message to be floated around the civilians.
Absolutely, absolutely. This is because let me just bring out another factor here. More than 250 to 300 high-level meetings were conducted before this Agnipath scheme was launched on 14th June 2022. So a lot of spade work has gone through. A lot of people have been consulted. A lot of senior Army, Air Force and Navy officers have been consulted. And it is only then that the government has come up with this scheme. It's not that somebody has just taken a decision in a drawing room and given it to the country. No, that's not the case.
Okay, absolutely, I agree with that because getting to know more about it कि इसका background क्या है, इसका पूरा thought through process क्या है, because I guess यही एक कमी है शायद बाहर लोगों को इस depth के बारे में पता नहीं था, and we're really thankful we had you today with us to clarify so many things कि बैकअप प्लान क्या है आफ्टर 4 years अग्निवीर के पास क्या ऑप्शन है एंड हाउ इट्स गोना हेल्प कंट्री इन अ लॉन्गर रन whenever there gonna be any war like situation. बैकअप क्या है? तो सर यहाँ पर मेरा आपसे क्वेश्चन ये रहेगा, हम जानना चाहते हैं, क्यूरियस है हम इस बारे को जानने के लिए कि इसका हम ग्लोबल इफेक्ट और इम्पैक्ट कैसे मेजर करेंगे या क्या देखते हैं इसका ग्लोबल इम्पैक्ट?
Yeah, that's great. That's really a very relevant question. But before that question, let me also say a few words about those who are quite disheartened and who are resisting this particular scheme and the type of, not the political, but even common man, they are against this scheme. There are two reasons. One is that a lot of young people were preparing to join the Indian Armed Forces because Indian Armed Forces is a very respected organization. A lot of young people would like to serve the nation and they were preparing. To them, it came very suddenly. So, to put it mildly, it was a little unfair for them. So the opposition to that extent is valid. But I will also say that they can continue. They should not ignore the armed forces and they should not also protest because they should consider the larger good or the larger benefit which the nation is going to get.
Absolutely.
Now coming to the question that you have raised, very surprising again, almost all major armed forces in the world have schemes which are similar to Agnipath.
Okay.
All of them. That is why China has been able to keep the age profile, average age profile of their soldiers between 24 to 26. All the NATO countries have the same age profile. Okay. And Israel has the same age profile. Pakistan, our next door neighbor, is age profile is 25 years only. Okay. And some sort of short-term military service, either through conscription or otherwise, is prevalent in almost all these countries that I have named, including Russia.
Okay.
So it is not something which is very, very new to India. But the thing is that in most of the developed countries, I talked about NATO and all, there are plenty of job opportunities available outside. Their economic status, their per capita, a lot of things which come in. And military service, generally in the NATO countries, United States, France, UK, is not that attractive for whatever be the reason. Same is the case with Russia, incidentally.
Okay.
So they have to work very hard to get the right person into the armed forces. In case of India, we have a surplus of talented pool, people who are highly qualified mentally, people who are intellectual level is very high, people who have digital skills, and people who are highly motivated to serve the nation. So we can pick and choose and get the best to the armed forces, and after 4 years when they leave, they don't get downgraded. they have the kind of discipline, they have some training, a little bit of skill development or education, they can be made more productive in the CV streets. So globally, schemes like Agnipath, not the same nomenclature of course, are prevalent in almost all the major armed forces, and each country wants to keep the average age profile of their armed forces between 24 to 26 years for, of course, obvious reasons.
Absolutely, absolutely. I totally agree with that because keeping youngsters more in the army will increase the mobility, the stability, the effectiveness of the army more. The young guns are always, because that is the age criteria when any person is in their prime of their health and prime of their physical fitness or mental state and everything. So that is actually very insightful, sir. So that brings me to another question. We talked about digital era. So after 4 years, when these people come out of the army and they go for the normal jobs, so what do you suggest? It's like a suggestion because you have holding so much experience. So according to you, what would you suggest for them? How they can prepare themselves to become a part of this digital era?
This again relevant because in armed forces it's not only the fighting the borders. There are people who are laying bridges. There are people who are expert in demolitions, construction. I'm talking of engineers. There are soldiers who repair vehicles, who repair tanks, and major repairs they do. Who repair guns, so they have the mechanical capabilities. And of course, there's a large section of people who are into IT, into telecommunication. They can be given digital skills like AI, cyber security, then computerized construction systems for the engineers, and for the auto people into the electrical and mechanical engineering, they can be given appropriate digital skills for their job, which they can find in the civilian field. Even normal security services, if these Agniveers come out and they combine big data, AI, digital cameras, and you can say processing of data and analysis, they will be able to provide much better level of security, not only to the corporate organization, even to the quasi-defense organizations. They will be able to provide with their expertise. Here I would like to give an example that there was a unit 8200 of Israel. That was a military unit of Israel, and they were involved in cyber security. At one point of time, this entire unit became civilians, private sector. They are working for Israel, but as a corporate entity. Of course, Israel has raised another unit for their own internal cyber security and intelligence of the armed forces. But Unit 8200 experts, they have raised another company which is serving the global needs in cyber security. So that is what the type of caliber they have.
Wow, that's so wonderful to know about things. I'm sure that having you here was a wonderful experience for us. We had so much clarity about Agnipath, that is the scheme, and the products the professionals prepared under it, Agniveers. What are their scopes after 4 years? So, sir, in the last, I would just request you to, if you have any message or suggestions for our viewers who are maybe disheartened, who do not have a proper information about it, any message from your side for that?
The message is this, that if one opportunity is gone, rest assured that doors for bigger opportunities are opening for you. And second thing is, change is an eternal constant in various activities of life, except for the values, of course. And hence, we must give change a chance. That's what I would like to say. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you, Brigadier Ashok Pathak ji. So, this was Brigadier Ashok Pathak ji with us discussing about the Agnipath scheme, the Agniveers, clearing so many doubts, so many misconceptions which are out there in the market. So, let's hope for the best, and I wish everyone good luck. See you next time.